Before I start this video, I could already guess the first game that you thought about when clicking this. Yes, Def Jam Fight for New York, which is actually my own inspiration of this video as I was firing up my OG Xbox thinking about ideas. Although this may be people's first introduction to hip-hop in video games, the integration of hip-hop in video games has been around for years.
We can play it on my Nintendo Entertainment System.
Over a decade ago, in 1995, Rap Jam Volume 1 came out on the SNES, featuring Coolio, LL Cool J, and even Public Enemy. Clearly being based off the highly acclaimed NBA Jam, Rap Jam sure as hell did not perform as well, and actually was listed as one of the worst SNES titles of all time. Around the corner a couple years later, Wu-Tang's Shaolin Style came out, a much higher acclaimed fighting game, featuring yours truly, the Wu-Tang Clan, holding great similarities to Mortal Kombat or even Street Fighter. Although this game was once again heavily inspired, it performed much better than Rap Jam, still actually being a highly sought out game today, even with the limited edition Wu-Tang controller that was released at the same time being a major collector's item going for very high prices online today. Although these games were not as highly influential in comparison as the few modern ones that will follow, I really think that they were a part of an essential chapter. I want to look at games with a greater influence on myself and potentially many of you. I was first influenced by hip-hop and video games through the infamous Donkey Kong rap. I was definitely not old enough to comprehend this song in 1999, but when my gaming days began, I started to appreciate this song more than ever. The rhyme scheme was clearly not overwhelming, and that was the entire point. It was a wholesome introduction to the lengthy list of characters in the game in an effective and memorable way, to the point where many of us today still remember these lyrics and that infamous beat. When making a video of hip-hop's influence on video games, it's really hard not to mention NBA games like NBA Street Volume 2 and NBA Street Volume 3, where you're listening to the same dozen hip-hop songs for hours. Having been released within the later years of my life, I actually really enjoyed the soundtrack. Video games like these are one of the many ways that I was exposed to new artists. This is just another way to be influenced by the music included. But around a year later, things began to really change. Def Jam Fight for New York came out. Now you can not only listen to the artists, but also be them. A lot of the rappers that I briefly knew from MTV, I started to recognize who they were within the game. I could actually be them and pick up their personal characteristics, leading to a greater understanding of them as artists. However, this was still not enough to trigger my love for hip-hop. What really accelerated my love for rap music and many others came into play with this game. Dre, Ice Cube, Snoop, Kool and the Gang, Public Enemy, Tupac, and the list goes on. Although Def Jam was a great runner-up, listening to these radio stations over and over again quickly made me realize how much I enjoyed this type of music. I ended up associating the music within the game with the excitement I felt when playing it, ultimately not only strengthening my obsession for the game, but also hip-hop. The thing is, in Def Jam and the previously stated games, I listened to those soundtracks because I did enjoy them, but there also was no other options. I was essentially stuck listening to the same songs on repeat. While on GTA, I would purposely tune into these stations in a game with endless amount of playtime, unlike the others. With characters like Ryder, for example, clearly having an influence from Eazy-E, and even the location of the game being based off the area of Compton, California, a birthplace of many influential rappers. Hip-hop has not only influenced video games, but also the people actually playing them, producing a lot of hip-hop heads today. I'm more than happy to admit that my first experience with hip-hop was layered within these video games. Even today, I saw this within myself whenever I got excited for the soundtrack of GTA 5 over a decade later, where they killed it once again with a great mix of new school and old school, giving me once again another platform to discover artists that I haven't known before. To this day, whenever I hear a song from any video game, I'm instantly taken back to the moment I found it on Def Jam or GTA, or in other people's circumstances, FIFA or even NHL. Whether it was within a game released a decade ago or within the past year, it still has the opportunity of taking me back. And that is how hip-hop influenced the whole culture of video games, and ultimately, you too. Now, I want to hear what hip-hop influenced video game you enjoyed the most out of your childhood. Thank you for tuning in, guys, and until next time.